Hello, my name is Jorge Quiroga, former president of Bolivia. I'm speaking to you from La Paz, and I want to begin by sending my greetings to the organizers, the leaders, the authorities, the participants of the Bay of Bengal Conversation 2024 being held in Bangladesh. First of all, my apologies for not being there in person. In Bangladesh, you may understand something about a country mired in turmoil and difficulty. My nation is going through such a period of time. We're on day 21 of a nationwide blockade that is trying to unseat the government due to a political struggle inside the governing party, with all types of lawsuits and difficulties for the economy that is going through a very, very tough time. That requires me to be here in Bolivia, and I cannot be with you in Bangladesh. I'm sure you will understand that our countries sometimes go through a turmoil on the way to a transition. And I wish I had been there to participate and to share in more detail the issues that we have together. Yes, you will be touching and broaching several subjects that are on the public discourse and the public debate everywhere. Global trade, I'm sorry to say that if you look at our friends in Europe and the US, they seem to be closed for commerce and trade. Mercosur, a bloc here in South America, has been queued up to negotiate a free trade agreement with the European Union for 25 years. The longest dating trade engagement ever without ever coming to a point where you have a wedding. You also understand that in the US Congress, it's almost impossible to get through any type of trade understanding. I think that requires us in the global South to look at how we can link up Latin America, Africa, Asia, and develop our own value-added chains if we find that the bigger economies are not open for business. You are also going to be touching on the geopolitical conflicts in the world. And yes, I'm sure Ukraine will get a lot of discussion, as it should, Slava Ukraini, and the conflicts in the Middle East, of course, which are heart-wrenching for many of us. That unfortunately means that difficulties or intractable issues in other parts of the world do not get the attention they deserve. I've mentioned one that's very near and dear to my heart. My friends in Venezuela just held an election in the midst of dictatorial conditions without access to the media, and miraculously, they won the election by 37 points. And the government did a coup against the popular will expressed in that election, and it just wants to stay in power no matter what come January, when the new government is supposed to be sworn in. Unfortunately, the world's attention is diverted, and we don't have the focus that we need to in Venezuela. Hopefully, now that we're getting past the election cycle, we will have a new incoming government in the US, a new commission in the European Union. Perhaps they can focus on our part of the world and not just on the flashpoints that I mentioned at the beginning. Venezuela certainly needs it, and the path to democracy and liberty for Latin America runs through Venezuela. Had I been there, I would have shared in detail also the opportunities that we have in climate change. My country has 25% of the world's lithium reserves. We are destined, if we have a rational government with a right orientation, to be a major player in the world of clean energy with lithium batteries and watches and phones and tablets and cars and motorcycles, and to help the world be a better place for the future. We don't have to look very far here in La Paz to look at the effects of climate change. I climbed the mountains. I've been doing it for 30 years. The snow line where I climbed the Andean mountains is moved up 180 meters. That is not a mountaineering issue. That is a water supply issue. And we have to move on climate change. And my country can be a player not only on clean renewables, whether it's wind, solar, or the beautiful mountains with hydroelectric potential, but also because of the great lithium potential. And certainly you're all going to be touching on the issues of freedom of the press and human rights, which are under threat everywhere, including in my part of the world, especially in my region, in 3 countries, in Cuba, and Venezuela, and Nicaragua. And Venezuela will determine if we will be a hemisphere that respects and abides by democratic clauses that we signed up to, including the respect for a free, unfettered press and the respect for human rights that are being grossly violated in many of our nations. At any rate, lots of things that you will be discussing. I will not be personally with you, but I hope to make it up and be able to go sometime in the near future. I will close also by sending my best wishes to a very good friend, Muhammad Yunus. He's been given a great responsibility in the transition in Bangladesh. Perhaps a similar responsibility will be bestowed upon some friends of mine in Venezuela very soon. But we understand the challenges that Muhammad Yunus is facing, that Bangladesh has to work through in the next few months to make it a better place. We share many of the same opportunities and the difficulties that we have as countries. Some of those difficulties are unfortunately the ones that are preventing me from being with you personally, but I wish you all the best to the transition government in Bangladesh, and all the best to the Bay of Bengal Conversation Forum, and may you have the best of events and enjoy it. Please, my regards from La Paz, Bolivia, and my apologies again. Thank you so much.